Mike Bone to introduce Lindsay Gottlieb.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much, Darcy. Today is truly a special day for the Trojan family, as I have the wonderful privilege of introducing the new women's basketball coach for your USC Trojans. First, I would like to thank Joyce Bell Limbrick, Brandon Sosna, members of the athletic department executive team, and numerous head coaches for their commitment to this process. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the experts across the nation that certainly know Coach and know of her incredible talents, but also care deeply about USC and our rich women's basketball history and the game of women's basketball, not only here in the USA, but also nationally. And just most appreciative of so many colleagues that were all in on trying to help us with this process, and just so appreciative of their commitment to women's basketball. Finding the right leader for our women's basketball team was absolutely critical as we strive to be the most student-athlete-centered athletics program in the country. Lindsay has a proven track record of success and brings instant credibility locally and nationally to our program. She has led a team in our conference to many NCAA tournaments, including a Final Four appearance. And most recently, she has earned over-the-top respect as one of the finest and first female assistant coaches in the NBA. Her elite basketball acumen and vision for excellence will lead our program back to national prominence. Furthermore, she embodies the values of integrity, hard work, accountability, trust, and a high level of respect for meaningful relationships with her players. Coach Gottlieb's exemplary leadership attributes are consistent with the guiding principles that steer our entire athletics program here at USC. Her elite caliber of coaching, extensive experience, passion for the game, and desire to win national championships makes her the perfect fit for our program. I'm extremely excited, as you can tell, and proud to introduce the new women's basketball head coach for the USC Trojans, Lindsay Gottlieb. Welcome, Coach.
Welcome to Zoom press conferences 2021. I'll start again. Thank you, Mike, both for those words and for your trust and belief in my abilities, my character, and my vision. It's pretty cool when you can find a leader to partner with you on a vision. I think that's what every coach would want. And that was a huge attraction, to me to be here. I'd also like to thank President Folt, who I have not met yet, but I have the opportunity to communicate with, who clearly is a visionary leader and cares a lot about women's basketball. I have so many emotions as I sit here today as the next head coach of USC women's basketball. And those of you who know me on this call, some don't, I'm a communicator, so please allow me to share some of those emotions with you. First, I am honored. This is a campus community, an athletics department, and women's basketball program that is defined by excellence and achievement. And it is with great pride that I sit here to lead this team into a new era. I am honored to wear the letters USC across my chest and represent the likes of Cheryl Miller, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, the McGee twins, Jackie Gemellos, Cassie Harberts, Courtney Jaco, India Otto, and countless other women who make up the tradition of what this program has been and whose legacy will propel us to what we can become in this new era. I am truly honored. I am also excited. I have said this many times over the last few days as this process was developing. I did not go to the NBA to escape college basketball, but I also didn't go with the intention of trying it out and coming right back to college basketball. I didn't go with the specific plan to become an NBA head coach or to get here or there. I went to the NBA to be present in a new and incredible challenge, to coach and learn in the premier sports league in the world, to contribute and add value to the Cleveland Cavaliers, our players, and help push forward the vision of the organization the best way that I could. I wanted to be pushed. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, to learn and to grow, and to impact the guys I worked with, as well as little girls and boys everywhere who might see me and think, of course women can. I hope I was doing that, and I certainly had no intentions of going anywhere. In fact, we were preparing to play the Chicago Bulls, which happened to be my scout. When I was in the coach's locker room, just checking social media, and I saw that USC was going to need a coach after the retirement of Mark Track. And I was specifically taken in by the comments by Mike that USC was ready to really recommit to women's basketball. And then Mike called me. You can only bear to leave one thing you love, that you love doing and are invested in, when something else comes along that feels transcendent. The right thing at the right time for the right person. And that's why I'm so excited for the chance to lead USC right now in this moment. This campus, the city of LA, the tradition, the talented women on our team, we have all been waiting for the commitment and leadership of this president of this university and this AD who say these young women matter and the success of this program matters. So I'm excited to be the leader chosen to take on this challenge. Next, Next, I am grateful. And I'm sorry if this emotion takes a while to get out, because I do have a lot of gratitude. There are so many who are literally responsible for the fact that I get to be here. I need to talk for a moment about Cleveland. General Manager Kobe Altman saw something in me and had the courage to do what hadn't been done. He recruited me from a sitting head coach position to a prominent coaching role on an NBA staff. I think his vision changed the game, and it certainly changed my life. Coach Beeline embraced me, as did the entire staff. And current head coach JB Bickerstaff, who was the top assistant at the time, he kind of became my guy, as I like to say. An NBA lifer, he took me under his wing as a colleague and friend and taught me the ins and outs of the NBA. Once he was promoted to head coach, he advocated for me, he moved me to the front of the bench, and he gave me a close-up view to his leadership style, his brilliant mind, and his ability to show empathy towards people while also holding them accountable. He draws up the best ATOs on that iPad at timeouts as well, and you better believe me, I will not leave Cleveland without getting him to share all of them with me. Dan and Jennifer Gilbert, Kobe Altman, and JB Bickerstaff, amongst others in the organization, are allies that set me up for this, and I am so grateful. To my guys on the Cavs, both current and former, Caleb, Tristan, Kevin Porter Jr., Darius Collins, Zoe, Dylan, Dre, Isaac, Larry, Dot. I cannot name them all, but they all welcomed me, allowed me to coach them and learn from them, and they empowered me every day. Galen now becomes their home too, and this program is shared with them. Although Caleb knows what colors he cannot wear in this building. My family and I will miss Cleveland so much. We love that city. We might be the only people living in LA with a vacation spot in Cleveland, other than, I don't know, maybe LeBron James. I mentioned the Cavs players, but I'm truly grateful to all the players I've coached at UCSB and Cal and my other stops, and so many have reached out. Any coach that doesn't realize we are who we are as coaches because of our players and their belief in us is just doing it wrong. Lastly, but not least, I am grateful to this current group of Trojans who stayed connected to each other and to USC through the trying times of change. And that is definitely not easy. I'm grateful for the way they looked me in the eyes yesterday on the Zoom and said, we're in, let's do this. And I have no doubt there's a special journey in front of us. And then also, I cannot talk about gratitude without talking about my guys, my husband, Patrick, and our son, Jordan. They make my heart beat, not just because they are both handsome and smart, but they are, aren't they? You could all see them here. There they are. But because I'm grateful to have a partner in Patrick that lifts me up, that supports my goals, and those of the women in our basketball family too. And because he models what being a teammate looks like every single day. And I have a son that will grow up knowing that his friends, the basketball players, could be Darius and Colin of the Cavs or the strong Trojan women. That is pretty cool. My relationship with my husband and son will be the work-life integration on display. Finally, I told you I had a lot to communicate. Finally, I am so motivated. This is a blank canvas to do something that's never been done. To take what I've learned at previous stops at the college level, to combine that with what I've learned in the NBA, both about life and about hoops, and to take that and provide the best college basketball and life experience for these young women. My husband likes to joke, it's almost like being the GM and head coach of USC women's basketball, as we talked about the pros in college. My mission is to figure out how to use these resources here to show our players the path to success on and off the court, to build a staff and figure out what we need, from coaching to mental health and performance, to academic support, nutrition, career training, all towards the end goal of creating something special for the collective group and each individual in it. The NBA has taught me so much about the nuances of the game, screening angles and spacing and shot creation, but it has also helped me hone my philosophy on partnership with players and administration, of empowering others to be great. Here at USC, I think I've been given the canvas to build not just a team, but a program that I hope can be a paradigm for the modern, changing NCAA, where women have equal access to benefits and where student athletes have every opportunity to get the most out of their time in college in new and exciting ways. This role is my dream, and I cannot wait to work with this group and those in the future so that I get to see all those in the Trojan women's basketball family achieve their dreams. That is the best part of coaching. Thank you to everyone, and fight on.
All right. Thank you, Coach. All right, we'll take some questions, starting with Anne Marie Anderson.
Congratulations first to Mike Bowen for another fantastic hire. And to Coach Gottlieb, welcome back to the pack.
Thank you.
We missed you, and I'm wondering, what are you able to share with us of that conversation that you had with the players yesterday? Because one of the things that has been communicated to me through Dane Blanton, NCAA champion this week, through Brad Keller and others, is that this is truly a student athlete centered administration. They really care. So I'm wondering, what was that conversation you had yesterday?
Well, first of all, I didn't tell them this, but I kind of had butterflies, right? Like the most important, you think about a job and what are the resources going to be and what are the facilities like? And then at the end of the day, it's really the people. So I got on that Zoom and I saw those young women and I kind of had butterflies, but it also reminded me that even though we have a young team in the NBA, they're still professionals. And I looked on and there was just a bunch of young people trying to kind of find their way and be a great team. And it was really cool for me to see them like locked in. I think they want leadership. They want to be great. They want to figure out what that looks like. I said to them, we have talent in this room. I think together we have to figure out what impacts winning and what are the things we're going to be about. And it was just a really cool first meeting. It's not the same as being in person. I look forward to that, but I got really good vibes from it. I hope they did too.
Happy to have you back.
Thanks, Anne-Marie.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Lindsay Schnell.
Hey, LG, welcome back to the West Coast. I was curious, obviously you've been a head coach before, you've been on the West Coast before, the women's game really well, but what specifically did you learn the last few years in the NBA that you think will make you even better?
Oh, goodness. It was such a kind of incredible experience in so many ways. And again, one that I really did not expect to be over anytime soon until this call came. It was neat to look back and you want to come sit here, bud? You can come sit here because I know Lindsay Schnell definitely wants to see you. So you can sit here, but you can't touch any buttons.
Welcome to the show, Jordan.
I learned just taking a step back and being an assistant is a really cool thing, not to have to make every decision, not to be the one with everything on their plate and just try to help a program grow. I learned a ton by looking at these guys and their investment in their own game. The time that they put in skill development is such a huge part in the NBA. Obviously, there's no limits on the number of coaches that can be on the court. So I'm watching, our video people, our player development people, our other assistant coaches work out players and learn things. And it's like a think tank of basketball. So I picked everyone's brain that I could. I watched, like I said, JB kind of handle a lot of different things that come in the NBA and able to kind of say, okay, philosophically, where was I before? Where do I feel now? So that was a really good experience. But a lot of it, I would say, is the technical side, the basketball side. The NBA, the spacing is incredible. The way that you utilize bigs to not just be, around the rim, but to spread the floor and use other skill sets, maybe to eventually get to the basket, but opens up lanes for other people. A lot of pick and roll, kind of cool things going on there. So yeah, I got a lot of notes and a lot of things. And every one of my colleagues in Cleveland is going to give me their sorters and I have a lot of work to do before we start the season of what will work for our team, but I'm excited to integrate the philosophies I had before, the new basketball philosophies I have.
All right, thank you. Joe Reedy.
Hi, Lindsay. Welcome back to Southern California. Just kind of two-part question. With Cleveland and the adversity of the past couple years, what did you kind of learn with dealing with people and with the coaching change last year? And then just a state of coming into this program. They've had some good players the last couple years, but have a real good recruiting class coming in.
Yes. Well, when Kobe kind of recruited me to come there, I knew it was a developmental situation. I think at the time they were, a year post sort of LeBron, and it was about how do we develop a culture here? We have a lot of young players. So I knew it was going to be a development situation. Obviously, things are thrown at you that you never expect. We had, a coaching change and we had a COVID shutdown, but I think, I learned again, that coaching basketball is not just the ATOs you can draw up and the plays you have. It's your ability to deal with people, to build a culture, to grow people as you're trying to build the collective. And so that was, like I said, a challenge that I was enjoying, and I was thinking I was going to be part of the next step, which I know that they're going to take those steps forward. But I had my hand in everything. I got to talk about personnel decisions with the scouts and front office. I got to work on the draft. Obviously, I got a lot of day-to-day time with a group that has veterans like Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson who we had last year, and Delhi, Matthew Dellavedova, and then young guys. And so to kind of see what it takes to become a winning team. And so with this group here, I'm really attracted to the fact that there are a lot of good players here. There are incredible players coming in. It's not about a lack of talent in the room. It's about figuring out what impacts winning and the ways that we get to do that. So I'm really excited about that.
All right, let's go to Adam Grossbard.
Hi, Lindsay. Adam Grossbard from the OC Register. Congratulations. You mentioned in your statement yesterday that you were impressed by the commitment of the university during your negotiations. Just what exactly was it that stood out to you in regard to resources that will be at your disposal to build your program?
Well, I think, Mike made it clear from the very beginning that, that it's time to put an investment in women's basketball. And, I wouldn't say it was negotiations. I would say it was conversation. And this idea that, there was kind of this runway in front of me, this blank, canvas to say, you tell us what a winning basketball program means in terms of support staff. I have really strong thoughts on mental performance training and that side of it, or, the support staff that is needed to allow these players to use this degree and not just be, in a basketball, shell to get out on campus and figure out how they can use this degree to empower them afterwards. So, I'm not joking about like the GM thing. I think I get the chance to say, okay, what positions do we need? How do we make this program, unique? That was really appealing to me in terms of the commitment. And then there was a huge piece of, I thought Mike, really understood. It's not just you, Lindsay, it's Patrick and Jordan. And how do you do this sort of, big time coaching job and also be a mom and include, the family in that? Like, those are things that I was thinking about. So it really was this, I think, opportunity to say, we don't just want you to come and coach a team. It was, we want you to come and impact this program. And so then the decision became not, I love what I'm doing, and this is just, a good job. It became, this is a transcendent opportunity, I think, to have USC women's basketball be just different than any other program. And the Pac-12 is unbelievable. No one knows that better than me, the quality of coaching, but I think there's an opportunity for us here to do something really unique and special, and to do it with these young women here and the ones that will be here in the future.
All right, let's go to Dennis Freeman.
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What areas did you feel like you were pushed the most while you were in Cleveland, or challenged? And what is your vision exactly for the Trojan basketball program?
So there were a lot of ways I was pushed. I mean, it was going from, I coached women's college basketball for 20 years. And then I went into something else. Yes, it's still basketball, but the day-to-day was different. The rhythm was different. In women's basketball, you practice over the course of a season, maybe 110 times, and you have 35 games. Well, in the NBA, you have 82 games, and they just keep coming. You have less practice time. So just even the rhythm and how you make people better and how you get the scouts across, that was one thing. Another thing that I think is really significant that I want to talk about is I was so welcomed there, and they understood that they were bringing in a female coach to kind of just come in and do her thing and be thrown in the fire. And I appreciated that. And I wasn't looked upon as different in the building at all. However, it was my first time in my life where every single time I was in a room, I was the other. And I considered myself, I think throughout life, I tried to be a really good ally. But you can't be the best ally until you're in the shoes in some ways. And so now I think about the young women, I will coach who are African American, who sit in a class where not everyone looks like them. I will be a better ally. I think about people who are in a new situation for the first time, they become East Coast to West Coast. I will be a better ally. So that was just an unbelievable experience for me. Again, the NBA looks at basketball kind of in a certain way, and I learned things about pace and defensive things that you do differently. So a lot of basketball stuff, I think where I was pushed to learn it a new way and not to say, well, this is what I've always done, which was great. And then my vision for this program, look, I mean, I want to dig into the film and actually the players, but I think we can play. I mean, everyone says it. I think we can play an exciting brand of basketball. I think we can do some pro style stuff where we're thinking about, if the shot clock were shorter, right, and what the spacing looks like. I'm hoping that we can put, an athletic and skilled team on the floor. But no question, it's going to be a team. Is one thing JB taught me that he says all the time: the most unselfish team and the most competitive team. And then I would add to that the most locked in team. I want a team that's me and them, like we're locked in all the time. That doesn't mean they do everything right or they love everything I say every moment, but we're locked in as one. And I think that's what Trojan women's basketball is going to look like: an engaged, tough, competitive team.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Michelle Smith.
Unmuting, thank you. Hi, LG.
Hi, Michelle.
How do you come back as a different coach? Not only what did you learn, but how did you change as coach?
Yeah, we were, again, in my conversations through this with like my inner circle, I talked about like, it's a pretty cool time maybe to be like Lindsay Gottlieb version 2.0, right? And be better. That's what we're all always trying to do. I think I will try and always be more efficient, like not worry about things that maybe I worried about before, and put my energy into the areas that are where they are most useful to, number one, pour into young people and help them achieve their dreams and help us do something collectively. Like that's the point of coaching, right? Like let's get a group to be on a mission to do something special together. And for me, it's let's take young women between 18 and 22 or that age and be something to them that no one else can be at that moment that makes them better. It is never about what they can do for me. It's about what I can do for them and what we can do as a group. But I also think just like an efficient mind and say, how do I grow kind of a program where other people get to do things, coaches get to do their part, and like it becomes this really kind of well-run organization. In the NBA, you have like 14 coaches and a front office and scouts, and it's a lot of integration of people. I think I can hopefully bring some of those, the way you build something from a management standpoint into it too. And yeah, I just think I have a different perspective. And I knew once I got to the NBA, I did say, and I was in no rush, I said, I think I'm going to want to run my own thing again and not, let's say, go from the NBA into the front office or yet, I think it was, I want to run my own thing because I think I'm going to be better. And I'm excited to put that into action.
Quick follow-up, Lindsay, you're walking into a Pac-12 scenario in which two Pac-12 teams played for the national championship. Obviously, the exposure to the conference has been really high. Obviously the respect for the conference is really high. And you are there to win some games and make some noise in this conference. And so I just kind of wanted you to assess the Pac-12 landscape today.
Yeah. It's funny, like I was, such a fan. First of all, I'm a basketball person. So even when I was coaching at Cal, I was watching NBA games and men's college and other women's college basketball. So it was no different when I went to the NBA. I was obviously doing my scouts and watching NBA, but I was still watching Pac-12 games and whoever I could at the time. And it was definitely different. We all in the Pac root for each other generally, but like, there's a level of kind of like, I don't know, stress or whatever when you're in it. So I watched it stress-free. I was like, go Adia, go Tara, go everybody, and now of course, going back into it, it's like, oh shoot, I have to coach against those people. They're the best in the business. Yeah, I think it's a super exciting time. I've been here for the growth of the Pac-12 getting to be the best conference in the country. And I think we're always now trying to do things to raise the bar. And I think USC, we're trying to do that right now. I think the exposure is unbelievable. This whole experience has kind of shown me the synergy between basketball. Right around the time of the Final Four or the NCAA tournament, our guy, our second year point guard, Darius Garland, went crazy at 37 in a game. I was like, oh, you got your Ari McDonald on, huh? You're feeling like Ari today. And he looked at me and laughed. I think that's just the way it's going to be. So I hope I can bring that element of giving our players the motivation to be the best in this league, but doing it our way and kind of having that chip on our shoulder of why not us? We have to raise our level to get some of these guys in the league, and catch them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Mark Wicker.
Hello. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about sort of the landscape of women's college basketball because, you come in here, Kim Mulkey getting the deal. She got it at LSU, Adia Barnes getting the deal. She got it at Arizona. What does it say about how far the game is going and how far it's come? That, there seems to be a lot more power among women's basketball coaching, and they seem to be more of a commodity now than it's ever been. How do you look at that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see. I think there's always been talent, right? I think these players are getting better. They're getting more dynamic, but it's really the coverage that has changed. And, I think you see the crossover, right? You see NBA players talking about the W, you see college, men's and women's players supporting each other. So I think, we're in this really cool era. That's why I said this is such a neat time where people are realizing the value of female student athletes. And, I'm all in, to have us super ready when the NIL stuff hits, because of course women should be valued. And if that means monetarily, let's, get them everything that they deserve and they can get. And then from an exposure standpoint, I think the spotlight being on these incredible coaches in this league and the rest of women's basketball is great. And I think, it's only up from here, and I'm excited to kind of do our part and keep pushing the game forward.
Thank you.
Ryan Karchi.
Hi, Lindsay. Ryan Karchi, LA Times. I know you mentioned getting that initial call from Mike. Can you offer some insight for us into their pursuit of you from there and how your decision-making process played out?
I mean, it was very straightforward and genuine. I guess I'm okay to say there was no search firm. There was not a whole lot. It was direct conversation with me and Mike and his right-hand people, Joyce and Brandon. And I could not have been more transparent. Our first conversation, I think, was 20 minutes. And, first he said, do you have an interest? And I was like, he said, can we have an informal conversation? I said, sure, right? I'm not going to not have a conversation. And he said, what are your goals and dreams and hopes? And I said, pretty much what I said at the beginning. I said, I came to the NBA to go 2 feet in. I'm not really thinking about anything right now other than trying to get us, in Cleveland to what we're trying to do. But of course, I'm going to listen, and USC is intriguing. And it was very casual. And then he came back again and he said, we kind of really like what you're about. Let's talk some more. And then it was more about the commitment. And hey, everyone knows, USC is kind of this, I said, this sleeping giant with the location and, everything that's here. But are you guys ready to kind of step up to everything that goes into having a successful women's basketball program? And just, they were really organic, great conversations. And he was very patient with me and my process. Cause like I said, I didn't have my eyes on this at all. Yeah, it was a longer process because I had to kind of go through what it would look like if I would stay in Cleveland. And then ultimately this idea that this isn't, just a job right now. I think this is an absolute opportunity to do something pretty incredible. And I'm looking forward to that journey with these players here.
All right, thanks, Julie. We have 3 more questions, it looks like. Cheryl Coward.
Hi, Lindsay. Welcome back to the Pac-12.
Thank you.
You mentioned some of the unexpected things that have happened, like the COVID shutdown. And of course, in women's basketball, we've seen explosion of movement in the transfer portal. There were 1,000 kids last month. With those challenges of COVID, did these things change your perspective in coming back to the college game as far as recruiting and coaching, especially to a tough conference like the Pac-12?
A little bit. I mean, so I wouldn't say that COVID impacted anything other than I did feel for my friends in college basketball this past season, because I can't even really imagine sort of the emotional toll that all that took. Looking at the pros, you're in a little bit of a bubble, and we would go to work and get tested 3 times a day and go back, and they're not college students, trying to sit in their dorm room by themselves. So I really know that was very hard for a lot of coaches, and they were a lot of things to a lot of people during that time. It was hard for student athletes. Relative to the transfer portal and where college basketball is, yeah, I did try to think about, how can I be better at this and where does this go? And I think, in the NBA, it's like they give you your players, they might trade somebody who's injured today, who's not. We would go into our meetings on game day. Okay, here's who's available and here's not. And I know that sounds transactional, but I think it has helped me be able to separate, look, what am I about? I'm about developing and mentoring these young people. But I also have to have some point where you say, okay, what is it that we need to focus on right now? And I think this idea of the transfer portal, I am going to always say to young people, I want you here. This is how I think I can help you develop. This is what I think you can do for this basketball program. This is what I think the university can do for you. But if this is not where you want to be, then that's okay, right? And who else does want to be here? And I think USC is the type of place where you navigate that in a way that, if I can be effective with that and just keep the group where we need to be, each individual will benefit from that. And I think maybe we can do something that is sustainable. That makes sense. So yes, that did, where the game is did play into my thoughts. Okay, what is this going to look like for me? And what is this kind of next version of my career going to look like?
Thank you, and good luck with Lindsay 2.0.
Thanks.
All right, Nick Hamilton.
Good afternoon, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks, Nick.
Kind of a two-part question. First, obviously, you built quite a powerhouse at Cal before going to the Cleveland Cavaliers organization. How was that transfer? How was that transformation as far as going from the collegiate ranks to the NBA? How did you adjust to that? And then my second part of my question is, with the emergence of a lot of women coaches in the NBA as well as the WNBA and on the collegiate ranks, how do you feel that will help your young ladies transfer or to be able to go to the next level from the collegiate ranks to the pro ranks going into the WNBA?
So the transition for me from Cal to Cleveland was it was hard. It's supposed to be hard. Like I said, I went out of my comfort zone and something that I'd done for 20 years to go to a brand new thing. It was, I was incredibly welcomed in Cleveland by the fans and the media and the players and the coaches in that building. They gave me every way to just be myself and contribute. It was amazing. But it was more like the easiest transition was with the guys, right? What I learned from that is that elite athletes, I think, all want the same thing. They do not care about your gender. They want to know, can you make me a better player? They want to know, do you care about me as a human being? And are you invested in me off the court as well? And I found that with the best women's players and the best men's players. So that part was not hard as you would think it might be. It was like the day-to-day, right? So as an example, right, in coaching women's college basketball, if we have a game on a Friday, we might start, watching film or what have you on that team, coaches, way before, but maybe Tuesday. And then we're, starting to work on some stuff that the other team might do on Wednesday and Thursday. You're showing some film and then you play the game on Friday. In the NBA, the first time that you're talking about the opponent is on the shoot around day of that day, because you probably had a game the night before, or you had three games in 5 days leading up to it. And so the flexibility for me to be able to just kind of like shift my mind to say, okay, I got to get this information to these guys on game day only. What does it need to look like? Or what do we need to focus on? And, you really have to have your principles in, because you might just tweak it. So some of that was just like the biggest transition was the flexibility of the schedule and what does it look like? Obviously the travel was more, times you're away for 9 days at a time and things like that. In terms of, I hope that answers the question. I could go on and on about the things I learned and what was the same and what was different. But like I said, maybe that'll go in my book one day. In terms of how I think I can help our players here who want to be pros get there, I think it's immense and huge. I had a 2-year think tank of it. I saw, what these guys do every single day, from the rookie to the, 12th year vet, and how they take care of their body and how they, shoot and work on their game, how they add skills in the off season. Like I said, I wish I had more time with it. Like who wouldn't? But I try to soak in everything that I could. So if I can't translate that to our players here, then I'm not doing everything I can do for them. So I can't wait, to kind of bring sort of what I learned from that side of it. And similar, with our WNBA players that I've coached before, taking what I've learned from them and bringing it in. I want to make this a place where, we get pros to work out in the off season and we can watch here, things like that. So I think the synergy between men and women and pro and college, I hope gets funneled through Galen Center.
Thanks, Nick. All right, we just have 2 follow-ups left. Lindsay, Chanel.
First, I'm upset that Jordan left. I was going to ask him a question because that's what happens if you sit in front of the mic.
FaceTime him, Lindsay. You can FaceTime him anytime. He's very good.
Okay. LG, can you tell us about what are you going to do for a staff? How soon do you think you're going to hire a staff? Obviously, you've been out of the college game for a couple of years, but you still know a lot of people. And then I wondered, within the Pac-12, there have recently been 2 coaches, Kelly at Oregon and Tina at Washington, who have brought in NBA people, kind of different. They don't have experience coaching women. And do you see an advantage to doing something like that?
I think the advantage is to thinking what is going to make this program the best? What do I need? What do the players need? How is it? I always say that we cannot ask the team to have the chemistry that we need if the staff doesn't have the chemistry. I am so excited to bring, people who are good at things that different than what I am, and all of us work together. So I think with the staff, we want to hire quickly, but not rush. My mind is open to everyone and all kinds of people. So I think that, I may tap into my NBA contacts, but I won't necessarily do that. I have so much respect for also the coaches in women's basketball. So we'll try and put together what we think would be the best for these young women in the program going forward. But I hope soon, because as you know, this job is a lot of work, and I definitely need help doing a lot of it. So can't wait to get people on board.
All right, we'll wrap up where we started. Anne-Marie Anderson.
Last question for you, Lindsay. I know that you received, or I can take a good guess, hundreds of texts. I am wondering about 2 of them. Your former Crosstown rival in Tara Vanderveer, and what you heard from your new Crosstown rival, Corey Close. What exchanges you're able to share with us from those 2, please?
Well, I think those 2 people, are amongst the 2 most invested in the game as a whole and not just themselves. I think that's what, it makes them remarkable amongst other things. So, I hope they believe that, it's good for the game. To have people coming back. I think, to have USC kind of maybe come back, to the map in that way. I'm looking forward to, they have great coaches with great players, looking forward to battles, but mostly I think to renewing that relationship where everyone's bigger picture is how we grow the game in this conference.
All right, that wraps it up. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Thank you, Coach Gottlieb and Mike Bone. Appreciate it. Fight on.